Howdy folks, and welcome to our Fluid Power Lab. I'm Dayton Keene, a student here at New River Community College, and today I'm going to be covering basic setup and operation of the hydraulics trainer along with the hydraulic power unit. One of the first things we need to do when we start our labs on the trainer is ensure that the hydraulic power unit is set up correctly. So let's go ahead and take care of that. So as you can see, here's a little bit better view of the hydraulic power unit. We've got our main switch, we've got our pressure relief valve and the knob to adjust it here. We also have the gauge to show what pressure is going through the pressure relief valve. Here we have the orange shutoff valve to the supply manifold and the return manifold here. This is our hydraulic pump and this is our reservoir. So one of the first things you're going to do before starting any lab is ensure that the unit's powered down, that the knob here is fully counterclockwise, the shutoff valve is shut, and then we're going to check our fluids, and we'll do that in just a second. Alright, I don't know how well you can see it, but this is our hydraulic fluid reservoir. It's got a temperature scale here, and it's got fill levels. They're kind of hard to see because they're behind this piece of T-slot. But this tank has been drained for storage, so I'm going to switch out this power unit for another one that has a full reservoir. But if it was relatively full and you just needed to add some to get it out of the low levels, the red and the yellow here, back into the green, you just remove this cap right here and get a funnel and refill the reservoir with hydraulic fluid. Alright, so I've switched out the power unit now. Let's check our temperature. So this is our temperature scale here, and as temperatures are reached, their bubble will show through. So as you can see here, this is sitting somewhere around 70 plus degrees. I can kind of see the 80 there, so I'm guessing somewhere around 75 degrees, which should be right because this hasn't been powered up or run, and that's about the ambient temperature in the room. We're also going to check our levels. Alright, here's our view from slightly above the reservoir so we can see our fill gauge. So obviously down here at the very bottom we have red, yellow, and then green for full. And if you notice, our fluid level is just above the yellow into the green, so we should be safe for operation in this configuration. Alright, so now that we've made sure that our power unit is ready to start the lab, we're going to hook up our circuit on the trainer, and I'll give you a view of that in just a moment. I do have to plug the power unit in. There's a port on the back. It takes a C13 connector, and you plug the other end into a 120 volt receptacle, standard wall receptacle. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll be back to assemble the circuit. Alright folks, since this is a basic setup guide, we're just going to connect lap 2 skill 1. This is going to be connecting a flow meter. So you give us just a second. We're going to grab the hoses from beneath here. Oh, here's a storage bag. Get your hoses out, and we'll set up the lab. Once you get your bag of hoses out, we can set up our lab on the trainer. Alright, we're ready to start hooking up our hydraulic circuit here. This comes from skill 1, connect and read a flow meter. Here's the diagram we're going to be following today. So let's get at it. One thing I noticed that's very helpful when dealing with these trainers is put on a pair of gloves. The hydraulic fluid kind of leaks everywhere. That's the purpose for these mats and stuff. So it just kind of keeps it off your hands if you have to take your gloves off to use your phone or write on paper or something. It just keeps your hands a little bit cleaner. So our first connection is going to be from the supply manifold to the flow meter in connection. And these connectors, these hoses, and all the connectors on the components use quick connect. So you take off the little cap, and it's very simple. There's a ring right here, detent ring. You pull it back, and it should clip right to our device. Do the same thing on the other side, and it's hooked up. So let's get a second hose here. Pop them open. Connect this. Oh, the hose isn't long enough. So to remove them, you simply pull on that collar and they slide right off. Let's see. This one should work. Yep, here we go. So this is a very basic circuit. We're coming from our supply manifold into the inside of our flow meter, through the flow meter, out, and to the return manifold. So here in just a second we'll power this up and see if it works. Alright, now that our circuit is assembled, it's time to power up the device and test our circuit. So first step is to just turn on the switch. You'll hear the motor engage. Then we'll check our gauge over here, and it should be relatively low pressure. For this, I'm going to set it at about 200 psi by adjusting the pressure relief valve here by turning it counterclockwise, and as you turn the dial, you'll see the gauge move to indicate the change in pressure. So it's set at about 200 psi now. Then I'm going to open the shutoff right here before the supply manifold, and we just got some flow rate, so we'll check that in just a second. So as you can see here, we got our circuit powered up. Let's check what the flow meter is reading. Alright, so now we're checking the flow rate on our flow meter, and this flow meter gives its values in liters per minute and gallons per minute. So we're sitting, there's 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, so I'd say at about 0.58 gallons per minute flowing through this circuit that we've set up. So now that we've set up and tested our circuit, we're going to power the system down and clean up. So first thing we want to do is we're going to close the shutoff valve. You hear the motor change. Next thing we're going to do is back the knob out until it stops on the pressure relief valve here, and you should notice that your pressure drops. Next, we're just going to turn the unit off, and that's that for the power unit. Alright, so we've got everything powered down. Our hoses have been put away. Now, the next step is some final cleanup. This is hydraulic oil. It does leak when you're connecting and disconnecting hoses and circuits and the like. That's why these trays are here, to help catch most of it, but some of it will get on the table. So the best thing to do is simply grab some paper towels, wipe up your area, try to keep it nice and clean. Take off your gloves, throw those away if you decided to wear gloves. And that's about it. If you really want to, you can check your fluid temperature using the temperature gauge as detailed in the previous video, and our fluid level. Both of these seem to be good. We're sitting at around 80 degrees on our fluid temperature, and our fluid level is sitting well in the green. So we're ready for our next lab, whether that be right now or next week, whatever time dictates. So I'm going to grab some paper towels, clean this up. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped.